And so, when they eliminated Drake off the charts, they went on that full court
I don't
press.
think they eliminated him. I think he just chilled. I think he chilled. I think
but
he gonna come back. I think he gonna come back and massive destructive takeover again.
No, I agree 1,000,000,000%. But what I'm saying for right now, you realize that Drake was probably keeping us in that top 40 for fucking 5-10 years.
Keep your damn mouth shut.
Yeah, you already know what it is. It's your boy Lightwalker X here, back with another video, and it looks like the coping is not going to stop anytime soon. They are going to continue this narrative that it's only Drake that has kept the charts alive for hip-hop, which, when I really think about it, Drake has had a lot of success over the years. We're not here to undermine it. We know people are going to repeat it all the time, but all those songs that we talk about in terms of him charting and being one away from Mike, were all of those songs hip-hop songs? If we're talking about hip-hop's dominance in the top 40 or the top 100 or Billboard charts in general, it should be hip-hop songs. Just because these are coming from hip-hop artists doesn't necessarily mean we should hold the songs that are not in the genre made by that artist to the same standard as all the other artists in the genre. And to say that Drake is the only reason that hip-hop was relevant on the charts is just completely irresponsible. Now, I've said this on my channel many of times. We can't attribute the success of the entire genre on one person. There's no way. You can have your heavyweights. Drake is definitely up there in terms of the statistics wise, right? But at the same time, he wasn't the only one. And there are other rappers that have had success while keeping it to what they do. Drake is an artist that has gone and done a lot of genres, and people do like him for doing that. But there are artists that have attributed large success while keeping true to what they do. And we have tons of artists here that we can think of over the last 10 to 15 years that have complemented hip hop and have contributed to it over time as well. It's just kind of crazy to me that these people in the industry, streamers and fans, just have this Drake-matized mentality where it's like, it's only him. It's only OVO. And I don't know, like, I have given my criticisms of Drake, but I've told people, in his first 5 to 6 years, I really did like that run. And if I ever do play a Drake song, it would be a song like that. It wouldn't be a song from his run from 2015 to now. I don't listen to that Drake or empathize with that sound, but his first 4 to 5 years of his career, for sure, I really did appreciate the music. But you're meaning to tell me that over the last 10, 15 years, Drake was the only artist that you could think of that kept the charts relevant for hip hop? It's kind of crazy because as far as I know, Drake has had obviously some hip hop songs in the Hot 100 and have hip hop songs chart. But a lot of those other songs aren't just solely hip hop songs. They're usually R&B, or they might go to the pop route. And that is cool for his individual success. But in terms of hip hop being dominant on the charts and staying true to what hip hop is or its respective subgenres, that doesn't really benefit it in a good way. There are so many eras that came through within the last 10 to 15 years already. So it's kind of crazy to just attribute one artist to the success of Billboard as a whole. I can't do that. You know what? I really wanted to look back at these artists that have contributed to the genre over the years, and I can list some right now. We can obviously go with Drake, right? His biggest songs, God's Plan, One Dance, Hotline Bling. Now, if these are his biggest records, to me, none of these songs are really hip-hop songs. The closest you're going to get is maybe God's Plan, but that's more of the melodic rap, right? So if I'm thinking hip-hop on the charts, I'm not necessarily really thinking any of these three songs, but that's just me. But then we go down to Kendrick Lamar, and he has some songs, obviously Humble being his biggest song, and then we have Luther more recent, Like That more recent, right? If we go to Future, we have Mask Off, right? We have Life is Good, and then we obviously have Like That. They did their collaboration. Cardi B, she came out within the last 10 years, and she had Bodak Yellow, she had WAP, she had Up. Eminem had Monster and I'm Not Afraid. Travis Scott, he had Goosebumps, Highest in the Room, and Sicko Mode. Obviously, we know Travis Scott went on a crazy run. The Migos, they went on a crazy run. Bad and Bougie and Stir Fry. Come on. Then we look at Lil Nas X. He had Old Town Road. J. Cole, Middle Child, No Role Models. Like, look at some of these songs. Look at these artists. Nicki Minaj, right? We had Anaconda and Super Freaky Girl. We had Roddy Ricch, The Box, right? 21 Savage, A Lot, Bank Account, Rockstar. Like, look at the statistics. Just go back in your playlist. There's no way that you're telling me you guys only listen to one artist over these last 10 to 15 years. And to me, like I've said it in my videos before as well, like, for me to say you ran a year in hip hop or an era in hip hop, you would have to have the best album of that year or era. And that's just me. Other people use other statistics to kind of rank that, but I'm going off of albums because your albums are your eras. They define your era. And if you didn't have the best hip hop album that year, then to me, you didn't run the year. And that's just kind of how I look at it. So if I'm going back to the start of 2010, we had My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West, which is tied to me personally for my favorite hip hop album of all time with To Pimp a Butterfly. I will never say within the early 2010s that Drake himself carrying the genre. There's no way. We still had Kanye West. We still had Lil Wayne, Jay-Z still dropping songs as well. Let's be honest. We can be honest about Drake's success, but we also have to be honest about the genre's success. And the reason why the genre was able to be so successful over the last 10 to 15 wasn't just because of one artist. It was a collective of artists that came over multiple eras that helped define them. And that's all it has been. We're not here to discredit Drake, but we're not discrediting the genre to benefit Drake. We're not going to do that. And that's one thing that I can't just let slide. So I don't know what is going on with Fat Joe. Maybe the OVO merch didn't come in for this year. I see he didn't do a photo shoot for this year unlike last year. So I don't know what it is, right? Maybe he's just really wanting his merch shipment and he's trying to cape no matter what. But this narrative has to stop. Fat Joe, Joe Budden, the Aiden Rosses, anybody that's saying this clearly needs their hip hop card revoked, because how could you be so brainwashed to believe, especially people who are in the industry? You guys know yourselves, you're undermining everybody else's success, and that is insane. You can't do that. You wouldn't want someone doing that to you when it was your time, but now we're doing it to others. We've had such an amazing year for hip hop, but these certain individuals are so stuck on these chart statistics. We may have a little pause right now, but they're acting as if hip hop will never get back to where it was. Come on. The consumers have changed. They want better. So artists are going to have to deliver. And the ones that can't, they're going to have to fade away into existence. And that's unfortunately what it has to be. We let a lot of BS slide over the last 10 to 15 years as well. So I'm not just going to sit here and tell you that hip hop and music was perfect. But at the same time, we had a lot of quality too. We had a lot of different rappers, subgenres were birthed. We had a whole bunch of eras, and the scene has changed. Time and time again, people will always say hip hop is dying, hip hop is dead, but it always finds a way to get itself back to where it originally was, if not better. So I'm excited to see what's coming. And it's just wild to me is people on that side are going to continue thinking that this is true, and it's not. You guys have PTSD, permanent brain damage from this battle. To say that, oh, hip hop is dead because Drake isn't charting. That means you guys are admitting that something did happen to Drake. And who would have caused that? You guys don't want to talk about that, though, and that's the problem. And Drake recently did do an interview with Complex talking about how the waters in the hip hop scene have been very calm this year. Nothing has really shaken up the game, and Iceman will deliver that. And, you know, it's what you expect from that side, people who think like that. I'm just not going to acknowledge all the success that came out this year, all the amazing albums that came out this year. But not only that, you're undermining all the artists that have dropped this year and the work that they put out, including yourself, because you put out a R&B hip hop adjacent album with Party Next Door, and no one is really talking about it now because you have your fans so obsessed with fast food that they want Iceman already. So you're discrediting yourself. If you are unable to succeed in the way you were previously, it's going to be even more tears from your peers, your affiliates, and your friends. And we don't want to hear that, man. We don't want to hear that. At this point, go ahead and chart, because they're just going to keep crying. And it's just so annoying. Like, you guys really can't just listen to Drake while he's not charting as high as he once was. It says something that you guys care more about the stats than the music. But, you know, I sound like a broken record because we've talked about this so many times on this channel. So you guys let me know. Is hip hop in the gutter because Drake isn't trending? Is hip hop doing bad because Drake isn't charting the way that he used to? And can we attribute the genre's success to one person? Drake may be the highest charting R&B rap artist of all time, but are we attributing the entire success of hip hop over the last 10 to 15 years over multiple eras and spans to only Drake, because those same songs that we prop up from Drake aren't all hip hop, if not most. So you guys let me know what you think down below. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Hit that bell for notifications. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Stay blessed and stay tuned.